My name is Bridget Jeffery, and I live in Strand Court in Rye. I've lived here for 6 years, I think. First of all, I was born in Yorkshire and brought up in Leeds for the first 18 years of my life. Unfortunately, I had polio when I was 18 months old. And so that has affected me, what I could really do. But I've done as much as I can and had a normal upbringing. My parents didn't go to church at all, but I was christened, and later on my mother suggested I was confirmed. I then started going to guides and attended church parade. Then, after church parade, I went to university in London because I wanted to study pharmacy. I enjoyed cooking, and pharmacy in those days was rather like cooking. You had to make up the mixtures. It's very different in these days when it's more giving advice and counting out tablets from foil packets. But in those days it was more like cooking. From university I met my husband on a sailing holiday on the Norfolk Broads, and my husband came from Chile in South America. Many years later, after working professionally as a pharmacist in both retail and hospital, we decided we'd go to live in Spain when we retired, because that meant that my husband could use his fluent Spanish. And we had a lovely time over there. We had 5 lovely years in Spain, and then unfortunately my husband got diagnosed with cancer and was very ill and had time in a nursing home there. And the family back in the UK thought it would be a good thing for us to come back here. So my daughter lived in Hastings, so I looked on the internet and for a suitable place, which had to be ground floor for both of us, to be have easy access to our car. And we found Strand Court. So that's really how I came to live in Rye. Going back to my upbringing in Yorkshire, my parents did not go to church. My father went to public school and was put off church by having to go to church twice a day at school, so he only went for weddings and funerals, and my mother was not used to going to church at all. But she did read Enid Blyton's Life of Christ to me, and I loved that book. I think that was my first step to coming to faith. Later on, she asked me if I would like to be confirmed, and explained what confirmation was, because I'd already been christened as a baby. And so I was confirmed, and that meant something to me. I vividly remember the bishop laying hands on my head, and something was very special to me. Later on, after attending a lot of church parades with guides every month, I got used to going to church. So when I went away to university to London, I didn't know anybody, and I thought, well, I'll start going to church here. So I looked for various churches in London, They were all Anglican churches because that's what I was used to. And life went on just the same. Then I qualified and had my degree and qualified as a pharmacist, and I started work at the Middlesex Hospital in central London. And there were some people there, other members of staff in the department, that seemed to have a special sparkle about them, something very special. And they talked about being Christians. I thought, well, I go to church, I'm a Christian. But somehow it was this special thing they had that I really couldn't understand. They took me along to lunchtime services there, and I realised that they all read the Bible, and I hadn't read the Bible for many years, except when I had to in scripture lessons at school. So the medical students at the Middlesex had a Bible study, and I thought, I'll go along to that. I was the only lady amongst all these medical students, and it was a bit awe-inspiring. They were very nice to me, but I didn't really understand it. I told my friends in the department, and they said, go and try All Souls, Langham Place at the top of Regent Street. So I started going to All Souls, John Stott's church, and they had a monthly guest service. And one Sunday evening, they were preaching on Revelation 3:20, and I was told there that there was a door, and Jesus was behind that door, and I could, but I would have to open that door if I wanted to meet Jesus. And I thought, this is different. I've never heard this before. So I thought, yes, I'll go forward and say, I want to meet Jesus. So I went forward with some other people, and then another lady took me aside, and we prayed that I should ask Jesus to come into my life. Well, I did that, and I said I was sorry for all the wrong things that I'd done in my life up till then. And next day, it was as if electric light had been switched on. It was completely different, my whole attitude. The other girls that I shared a flat with said, what's happened to you, Bridget? You're different. You're always happy. You're always smiling. So I told them about it, but they were a bit apprehensive of what this was all about. That was the beginning of my Christian faith, and life really changed. After that, I went to All Souls regularly, and during that time I met my husband and told him what had happened to me, and took him along to All Souls as well. And finally he committed his life and asked Jesus into his life too, so that we were both committed Christians, and that was wonderful. Then we got married and moved to Essex, and went to the Anglican church there, and soon I was very much involved, and so was Alex, in life of the church there. Alex actually became a church warden there. Then the years went by, and Alex had a lot of health issues. He had a lot of depression, and we all thought that it would be nice when we retired to move to Spain, because he would be able to speak Spanish there and enjoy himself sitting with all the old men in the village where they used to sit and have their coffees and so on. And he did. We went to Spain and we had a wonderful time there. But that's where we started going to the Baptist church. The Baptist church there was very similar to the Anglican church we left in Essex. Whilst we were at the Baptist church in Spain, we decided we ought to be baptised by immersion, though both of us had been christened and confirmed in the Anglican church. But that meant a lot to us both. We were baptised in the pastor's swimming pool, which was quite different from what one would do in this country. But that was fine. Then, unfortunately, things went wrong. My husband got cancer, and it was a very difficult cancer to diagnose, and we went from pillar to post trying to find out what was wrong with him. Finally, a Scottish doctor did the right test and realised what he had, and treatment began. But he was so frail by that time that he had to go into a nursing home because I couldn't look after him anymore. The church were wonderful. They used to come and help feed him when he was in hospital before going into the nursing home. There was a rota for doing that because they realised I was getting so tired. Anyway, while I was living on my own, because Alex was in the nursing home, I was cleaning around the swimming pool and broke my leg, stepping over a hose pipe. But the Lord was with me even then. He'd had been with me all this time, finding us the church and finding new friends and so on. But he was with me even when we went to the nursing home, because when I broke my leg, obviously I couldn't live on my own, so my son Simon found a place in the same nursing home with Alex, so we were together. So I'm sure the Lord was with it in that, and there was a reason why we went to that nursing home, because on Sundays we started having a service for the English people that Alex and I used to lead, with the help of the sermons on my laptop from my church in Havia. So that was, a reason, I think, that we went to that nursing home. Then we came. Alex was well enough to leave the nursing home, and my leg had healed, though it was even more difficult for me walking by that time. And we came back home and decided, with the help of our family, that we needed to come back to England. And that was when we came to Rye. I also found Rye Baptist Church on their website and thought that would be a good idea. And so here we are now. But at least I am, because unfortunately my husband passed away 4 years ago. But I've had tremendous support in my bereavement and before from the church in Rye, and I've made many friends there, and I enjoy having people back to my little flat in Strand Court and lead a home group here. There's a verse that's meant a lot to me in Jeremiah 29, chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And that's really what he has done in my life.